2. Mic check 1, 2. Let's go, fellas. Between Sundays, Terry and Brister. And then we have Jay Morris.
Yep.
Take it away, peoples.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome.
Between Sundays.
Yeah.
Tonight's episode 53. Again, we're a platform where we offer perspective of the modern church ministry operation and the many nuances therein from the lens of worship arts and multimedia personnel. If you weren't with us last week, we had a great conversation surrounding a phrase that we've thrown around a lot of times in terms of the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked at a specific picture of a posting and had a great dialogue around that. And there's more to come from that, particularly when we get into September. There's going to be more to come in that regard. Today, we're going to take a bit of a pivot and do a precursor for something I would say that's a bit adjacent. But it was a thought-provoking social media post from, I believe, about a year ago. And from a very influential person in the gospel music community. I call him Pop Craig Hayes, but many people know him as Professor Hayes.
Yeah.
So we want to start with that tonight. Tonight is kind of looking at a personnel conundrum that I call it, and you know what may be the cause or the root of what this post really highlighted. I suppose whenever you're ready, you can drop that picture in. So here's what it says. Too many young artists, musicians, and singers have decided to step away from weekly Sunday service responsibilities, and it's concerning, leaving houses of worship scrambling week to week or weekly to find coverage. He goes on to say, I can't tell you how many counseling sessions he's done recently on the subject with his young people. Another concern, discussion as of late is the termination of older seasoned music ministry leaders after years of dedicated service. Both scenarios have their own unique dynamic. I want to read that again. If you're coming in, please share to your page, share to a group that you think would be like to join the conversation and be beneficial for the conversation. But I'm going to read again. Too many young artists, musicians, and singers have decided to step away from weekly Sunday service responsibilities, and it's concerning, leaving houses of worship scrambling weekly to find coverage. I can't tell you how many counseling sessions I've had recently on this subject with my young people. Yet another concerning discussion as of late is the termination of older, seasoned music ministry leaders after years of dedicated service. Both scenarios have their own unique dynamic. I thought this one was real interesting. I think this is a discussion that really needs to be had, really needs to be amplified. Now, it's two different things going on. And Jay, if you don't mind, I would like to start with the latter. Let's start with the latter in terms of the termination of older, seasoned music ministry leaders after years of dedicated service. You have any thoughts to start out, bro?
Yeah. First, let me give our prayers and condolences to those that have lost loved ones. The celebrities, about 3 or 4 celebrities this week.
Yeah.
That have passed. So condolences to them on behalf of Between Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
As far as older seasoned musicians and singers being let go, that's hard within itself to even hear. That hit home with all of us, actually, because we're all seasoned musicians. And it's the reason why he said older seasoned musician, because most of the older seasoned musicians have given 50, 60, some even 70 plus years to the ministry. How many times as we were growing, Darian, have we seen the little old ladies still on the organ or the piano, or the old gentleman that's 75 that's been in the same Baptist church 35 years, and he doesn't get paid anymore, but he just loves the ministry because he's just there.
Yeah.
But the young the young guys take over and leave him there on the piano.
Yeah.
Organ playing loud, keyboard playing loud, guitar, bass, and he's just doing what he can at this point. I've seen it many times, and it's a shame in our church, and I've seen it where I'm not gonna say no names, but I've seen it where I would say the physically weak would be almost like a horse taken out to the pasture. You're no longer fit for the position, so your 25 years in service of this particular ministry is appreciated. However, it's time for new blood.
Yeah.
And that's always been hard for me to understand why we can't find some kind of position for those that have served in that particular time, because if God allows us to live, we'll both be in that position one day.
Yeah.
We all know that musicians are only getting better younger. It doesn't take 12 years old now. Someone playing at 5, some are playing at 7, and they're sounding really good.
Yeah.
And they're fluent. They're getting fluent earlier and earlier. So, I'll start out with saying that, and then I'll get to something a little deeper a little later.
Yeah. I believe we're going to spend most of our time tonight on this part of the post, because there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of nuances. Obviously, we're starting kind of on a general overview.
Yeah.
But then we have to kind of narrow it to certain situations that we have seen, come and heard, talk with people. The first thing that comes to mind for me is something we've talked about, and I would say we have tried to highlight for the musicians that are in our generation and even in the generation behind us, which is having the end in mind.
Yeah.
Not only having the end in mind, but also having transition in mind.
Yeah.
And so the first place I'm going with this is that not only do us as musicians, we generally do not take the consideration to those two things that we should. I would say churches also don't take the consideration to those things.
Most definitely.
As they should.
Right.
What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is when churches, they're not paying attention to those who are operating in key musicians and thinking about the end for them or the transition for them. We're not on both sides. We're not thinking about it.
Right.
And so when we don't think about it, when it comes, when the roosters come home.
Yeah. And they will.
And they will. Not an if or when.
And when.
So when the roosters come home, then these situations, probably 97% of the time, are always mishandled.
Yep. Agree.
They're always mishandled because neither side ever put consideration on the end and the transition. It's the mindset has just been, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yep.
But crossing these type of bridges, again, it ain't just a walk across. And so the result of we'll cross that bridge when we get to it has been people being mishandled. That's been the result.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing I'm attacking is that part we got to change on both sides. Both sides have to consciously start considering as it pertains to their leaders in key areas of ministry. Both sides got to consider what the end looks like and the transition. We got to. Because when we look at the word used is termination.
Yeah.
That's the word used.
Yeah.
Termination. And in a ministry setting, anytime we're talking termination and there was no egregious act by the person terminated, then more than likely the person terminated was mishandled.
Yeah.
Again, if the word we're using from the post is termination of older seasoned music ministry leaders after years of dedicated service. If termination is the word and the person that was terminated did not perform any egregious act, then they were mishandled. They were mishandled. Now, I had to start there because we have to shift into, when we talk about the end and transition, that suggests that you probably should not stay in a leadership position until the Lord calls you home, or the Lord almost calls you home.
Agree. That too.
And please catch the context of what I'm saying. The context of what I'm saying is, in essence, you should not be in a position so long and through such an advanced age that now your body fails you, your mind fails you, your ears and eyes fail you. That's the context of what I'm saying here. But again, that goes into the considering the end
in mind.
In mind and the transition. Because again, in a ministry setting, outside of an egregious act, and let's include an egregious act, like a refusal or rebellion against progress. Let's kind of include that in there. Outside of that, in a ministry setting, I don't think there should be any termination.
Right.
Reassignment, sure. Okay. Maybe, for instance, at your advanced age, maybe we find another area of ministry that that's not as demanding, and maybe does not require as fine of a skill set.
Right. Creative consultant.
Whatever the case.
Whatever it is.
But termination?
Yep. Not having a job anymore.
Yikes.
No pay. After dedicated, that's what he said, dedicated years of service. That means very few Sundays missed.
Yes, sir.
Very few rehearsals, very few revivals, very few funerals. Basically, you gave your life to this ministry. And in these days and times, it's hard to find any musician that's willing to give their life to one ministry.
Yeah.
But back in the day, pals, that's what they did.
True.
Yeah.
When you had that mother on the church piano, or that older gentleman on the organ or the church piano, and he's been there 40 plus years. He's a deacon.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with you, man. You're absolutely right. Neither one thinks about the end in mind. And what happens, because neither one has thought about that, now you can't work because your fingers don't work as well. Your bones are brittle.
Yeah.
Or there's something else that's going on with your fingers to where now you can't play.
Carpal tunnel.
Right.
Arthritis.
Or the church hires younger musicians. Now you have to kind of take a back seat. And nothing's really been discussed with you. You're kind of getting pushed out the way.
Yeah.
And even though they don't want to make it seem like that, that's what's actually happening. Because they realize you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So they kind of keep you on there to look good. See, even that has its, nuances right there, because that causes a conversation now.
Absolutely.
I've seen churches do it. Oh, that's just such and such. Just ignore him. He's always been there.
Yeah.
When does that disrespect become a subject of a conversation that needs to be had, man? Like that's almost, because like you said, it's not a thing of if.
Yeah.
It's a thing of when.
Yeah.
And when you're young, you don't think about that. And let's be honest. If I had to, play the advocate on the other side, are we really going to talk about that in today's time where the average musician doesn't stay at a church longer than 3 years?
Yeah.
So it's hard to think about the end in mind for either party. Because churches would have to always think about the end in mind for whatever musician they have. Now, is it impossible? No, it's not impossible, because secular jobs do it all the time.
Yeah.
But there should be something set for musicians. You should have something in the pot brewing by the time you get 30, by the time you really get 25. Because you understand, as long as God gives you breath and you're able, you're going to get older. And as you get older, you get slower. I don't care. You might be better, but you also get a little slower every single year. And don't let you be out of shape.
Yeah.
Eating habits, because you know how musicians, we love to eat. And we stay out late nights. Studio sessions. You don't get out till 2 a.m. Ain't nothing open but Denny's and Wawa. You got to eat something.
Yeah.
And that's been the concept over the years. And guess what? Bellies get big. Arms get big. Now you have issues by the time you're 40.
Pels, I want to get your thoughts, if you have any. Let me say this, though. Let me say this. And this is kind of, let's say, a push and pull with the points that you brought up, which I don't disagree with any. But particularly with the dynamic of the younger musicians. Here's the conversation. The conversation should be that, okay, Not only do we appreciate your dedication, we see your dedication. At the same time, we don't believe it is healthy for you or ministry to try and serve, and might be controversial, to try and serve in this same leadership capacity with the same demands for 40 years.
Yeah.
That should not be a ministry plan.
Yeah.
And I know that might be controversial because I'm pretty sure we have pastors all across this country, probably all across the globe, who have pastored at their churches or in total 40, even 50 years.
Yeah.
And so I am surely not taking a jab at them. I'm just giving an example of a conversation that maybe avoids this. But when we don't even think about and put the end in mind, we just kind of let the time just fly. Versus as the ministry and as the person doing this demanding job for more than 40 years is not healthy.
No.
Maybe you disagree with that if you're listening. My perspective. But I more than 40 years? Again, to me, you may not have considered the end.
Right.
And you may not have never considered transition till year 38.
Yep.
Then it's like, whoa. Man, I've been doing this that long? Man, well, I ain't tired yet, so what else I'm gonna do? Again, I just submit that might not be healthy for the individual or the ministry. Pels, you got any thoughts?
That's kind of rough, man.
Yeah, that's rough, ain't it?
No, it's rough because first thing I thought about was Unk, right? Over at Baptist Worship Center.
Yeah.
And then Don Stevens, for a good minute.
Yeah.
These guys like OGs, but if you close your eyes, you swear it was a young boy in the bass.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then there's some on every instrument where it's like if you close your eyes, the sound doesn't tell you their age.
Absolutely.
So then it comes to ability and, off record, what we talked about earlier, right? That type of persona actually is enabled for years. And then what ends up happening is they've been tenured in lackless talent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've been tenured when you haven't even when no one was able to say that the talent is not there. Those are the people that become problematic after years.
Yeah.
If you really pay attention to it. We don't really do that with, depending on who it is. Like a John Roberts, until that dude is on a cane or, like with gray hairs everywhere and just wrinkled, that dude's gonna play drums till he die.
Absolutely.
More than likely, right?
Absolutely.
Most of our favorite drummers out here, we can't really even imagine when they wouldn't be able to go around that drum set, or at least as a drummer, hold the pocket.
Yeah.
Now, if the entire ministry is jeans, t-shirt, shout out to Eric Mason-ish looking church, pastors got dunks on and everything, all the kids are coming in, the high schools, your main congregation, then you have a situation. But in most cases, I think it's more so the untalented or unaware of the limitations of the talent that become problematic later on.
Yes,
Our
sir.
deacon, shout out to the legacy of Deacon Frederick G. Dantzler, who was the grandfather of my cousin and friend Fatine Dantzler, right? Of Kindred. That grandfather taught me a lot about music, and he was a guitar player.
Yeah.
And he played when Tremaine Dunlap and Tim and I we kind of took over and we let, as Jay was saying, Sister Clark, Ethel Clark used to ding on an upright piano, a upright.
I don't got them no more.
And we kept it tuned for her, but she would F sharp, ding, 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 and then we'd be over in the other corner. Then we pocketing and driving bass lines and all this and that, and we would just let her ding, 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 ding. Then she kind of realized I'm not fitting in anymore.
Yep.
We didn't box her out.
Yeah.
It was just that her last lifeline was playing for the senior choir.
Yeah.
And we watched her not be able to get that right sound of the piano to back the preacher up. It was like, yo, no, I know how to play the organ in here.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that's the sound we need for early, you know, and that ding, 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 ding. After a while, that wore out.
Yeah.
And she would just be like, she'd fall back. She phased herself out.
Yeah.
Deke would hit the boom, 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 boom. Then he would just put the guitar down and let us finish it.
Yeah.
And he transitioned out.
Yeah.
I guess and the thing was, we picked up all of the old stuff that he was doing. And once we showed we can do that for you, the rest of the church was like, yeah, Deke, let the young people do it. So I guess what I'm adding to it is we back to that key word we talked about earlier, the enablers.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
It was the rest of the congregation that encouraged, because we wasn't trying to kick the old man off.
Yeah.
He just pretty much was like, we following your lead, but you don't have to be on the lead.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I think it's the there's a couple of churches now that I've been to that I look in the music corner and there's an OG there. And maybe one or two spots I was like, yeah, y'all just letting him do something. The other ones, it was like, yo, I mean, he's 60, but he's still holding it down.
Yeah.
So let him do what he's doing.
Absolutely.
But to your point of kicking him out, termination. Yeah, we're not aware of how to land the plane. We're not sensitive to it. And we don't know how to say, hey, and I mentioned this. Some of y'all may know Martin Witherspoon. That's my guy. Martin and I, we grew up together. So I'm going to say this, point blank. I mentioned to him, I'll just say it loud. I said to him, like, look, you got to get a young boy in the church. Because you and I know we have limitations, but we know how the service goes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then even his pastor, shout out to Pastor Harry Moore, I'm going to just say this. At least a person like him with wisdom is not saying, you're washed up and you need to get out. It's like, no, this dude been ride or die with me for all these years. So you don't have to worry about being pushed out and a check being pulled. You just have to be down for the shift.
Yes, sir.
Right. So it comes from a leadership. I'm done right here. It comes from leadership and the server that are both held accountable for, I recognize how long you've been rocking. I recognize the input and how you've affected us to get here, but I need you to recognize that for us to go to the next, changes got to be made. So I assure you, we're in our best interest. We're going to honor the time and the position you served here.
Yeah.
And I need your wisdom.
That part.
I need your wisdom. So in a sense, we technically ain't taking your check away from you. That check is shifted into wisdom.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you to say, hey, you know what? Thank you for this. I'm good. And honestly, you're doing less work.
Yeah. So let me do this. I need to throw a curveball at both of you. Need to throw a curveball. And I need your thoughts. From the musician side, could it be that our issue is we view legacy incorrectly? What do I mean? Could it be that we view legacy as staying in super long?
Right.
Until we can't
do it anymore.
Versus viewing legacy as pouring into the next.
Right. Right.
Because if we viewed legacy as pouring into the next, we would not be trying to stay in until we can't.
Can't do it.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, man. Look, every Sunday, I do not start service out. I play for a wonderful ministry in Wilmington. I do not start service out. The Young Bulls start service out. They do all that. I come in about 45 minutes after, do what I got to do. Once I'm done, they take it right back over. I don't stay on the organ 3 and 4 hours no more, man. My back ain't there no more. Come on, look.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Ask any organist that's been on the organ more than 20 plus years. You gonna start having back issues
Mhm.
Right.
because most of the organs we sit on is straight wood.
Yeah.
They don't have cushions on every organ. Some organs you might be blessed to have one,
You got to
But
buy your own.
but you got to buy your own. and these organs that you sit on, especially if you go to a charismatic church
Mm-hmm.
that like to pray and prophesy, you gonna be on there for some time.
Yeah.
And you talking about every week too,
Mm-hmm.
not including rehearsals, not including other situations that you gotta be on there. That starts wearing your back down.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody ain't the same.
Yeah.
Certain people can't sit on the organ no more. They have to have keyboards.
Yeah.
I mean, great organist, but it is what it is. And,
Mhm.
and like you said, we don't think about stuff like that. Even like Pell said, you don't have to play the entire service.
Mm.
What's a good example? TD Jakes, Marcus Dawson.
Yeah.
He don't play the whole service.
Right.
He play for Jakes. When Jakes get up, Marcus gets on the organ.
Mm-hmm.
Now, any of those other musicians are well capable of taking Jakes where he need to go.
Mm-hmm.
But Marcus Dawson been there very long time. But guess what? He's like, look, I play for Jakes. After Jakes, I hop right on off.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't need to.
Hey, so you know what just came to mind? Ain't this interesting that I ain't gonna do these shout outs to these people that pass, especially with the WW and
Yeah.
you know, everybody arguing back and forth. But here's what's crazy. When you take somebody was here the other day and they mentioned they went to Earth, Wind and Fire concert, you think about Coldplay, you think about, you know, the different bands. These bands still touring, and in most cases, the band is still the band.
Mm-hmm.
Hootie and the Blowfish, the band plays. Right? They old.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they still play, right? Because their sound, as Darian would do, here's the curveball. How much has our sound eliminated the wisdom that we have? Right? Because you think back in the day, if it was that dope, that hot, there should be a place for it.
Yeah.
Right? There should be a place for it. Pulling in all of the conversations we've had on all of the times we've been live, something that these guys have mentioned was, what's the game plan? Right?
Yeah.
Are we just living Sunday to Sunday, or do we have a game plan? Did we do some kind of, you know, passive income? Did we take care of different things? Have we done investing where it's like, I don't have to go on a Sunday to live?
Yeah.
So therefore, I can roll with this shift, or I can say, hey, I'm putting more in the plate. I make more like than y'all could ever give me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take this, and what y'all pay me, I'm just investing it or pouring it into somebody else.
Yeah.
Or that's a tithe or something like that,
Yeah.
because I'm good over here. So it is helping. And I've seen shout out to Niche. Sorry Niche, it's not personal, but y'all be having too many controversial posts. But the thing is, I seen her mention something about the word kingdom. And that's a whole nother just like taboo word that people hit. And I'm like, the minute you say kingdom, you literally take away the financial part. And then I don't want to pick up on what I think John Gray threw out there and pissed everybody off when he was talking about, listen, and I agree with something he said. Say you're having a concert, so it's clear that, yo, if I say concert, the musicians got to get paid. The lighting dude, the sound, because you're getting what you pay for. If that mic ain't working, like the Nigerian boy with the Afrobeat music, he's like, oh, the sound, he was mad because it was like, yo, the mic don't work when I get up there. Y'all hating on all of Africa. He took it way out of context.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, dude, your auto-tune thing is jacked up. It's your fault. But the thing, I made that point to say, people, that we're at a point where it's like, if you go into an old movie theater, you go into an old movie theater. The seats ain't like King of Prussia. You ain't gonna feel the bass and stuff like that. The screen is not super digital. Got you. But right now, the average person that goes to a theater, you want to feel that joint. You want water mist on you. The chair got to be rocking and stuff. You want, excuse me, can I get some French fries? And they come serve it to you. You want all of that because times have changed. Nostalgic is nostalgic. Old school is old school, but now is just now. And so when you put all of that together, it has to really deal with what is your ministry looking like.
Yeah.
It's like, man, if you've been playing for umpteen years and you look at the crowd, and off of that preaching, the crowd don't look like the type of music you do. That's when you got to sit down and talk. And you're not sitting around like, I'm going to see if they want to kick me out. You got to think and find what's the shift and find out where's it at. So now dropping that word kingdom back in there, kingdom mindset means that there's a lot of space in the kingdom. And if it's a lot of space, maybe you too old to stand at the door. Maybe you shouldn't be the watchman on the wall because you can't see as far as you used to. So who have you trained?
Who have you trained? Who have you poured into?
Who have you poured into with your selfish behind self? Who have you poured into? That is another caveat of a problem. Even preachers, come on, man. It's some pastors standing, bruh, sit down. And who have you poured into? Be emeritus. Who have you poured into? Like nobody else can do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, even basketball retire. I mean, you don't see Dr. J and them like, I'm mad because they won't let me play on the Sixers. You don't want to play on the Sixers right now.
Now, if I can,
please do.
My bad, because I ran it. I'm sorry.
Kind of bring it to the context of what I believe that Professor Hayes was saying as far as the as far as the musicians that are older and seasoned. A lot of times those older and seasoned musicians, they are dependent on that small check. If you're with a Elton John's band or Hootie and the Blowfish and you're getting 25 to 30 grand just as the drummer per night, and you got a 6-month tour, you doing all right. You're not looking for a Sunday gig. You just kind of just feeling it where you go. And understand, of course, if your style of living is 29,000 and you only making 30 grand a show, then you're gonna still be in the same kind of position, I guess, is context. But still, you got a lot more money than people making a year. But I believe he's talking about the context, even with just church musicians that make 250, maybe that little 275, as they got older. Because they probably been at 150 for about 40 of those years, and the church just raised them another $100 to maybe 275 or something like that. So they learn to live on that. And then once they get a little older, once they lose that, then what do they have?
Hey, but Jay, but look at this, right? See, I'm reading this slow. The only thing with what Craig Hayes is saying, when you say too many artists, musicians, singers have decided to step away from weekly Sunday service responsibilities, right? And it's concerning. Let's get back to, man, y'all ain't gonna like me for this one. I have to look at it like this. From being a pastor and being like a junior deacon, blah, 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 minister music, let's just do the math. You have a building, you have people. When you take up the offering is going to dictate, as the money's coming in, what you can afford.
Mm-hmm.
The people have to show up and they got to put money in the plate. So if your only sole reason for being there was to get that money and you need that money, you're totally misled. I'm going to say why. Now, I'm not picking on the person that's working and receiving the money, but when it comes to a point that it's like, hey, I've been doing this for 5 years and I'm only getting $300 a Sunday. I need more. It's obvious you weren't actually a parishioner. You were just hired help.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now here's the mindset. The church got to look at, if all we got is hired help in here, then we got to stop calling this family and ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm.
Because here's the deal. When I go to the movie theater, the people working at the movie theater ain't my family.
Right.
Correct.
They are there to get a job done, so I'm satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go back to the counter and it's a different girl behind the popcorn counter, I'm not really noticing that
Mm-hmm.
because they paid her to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Are y'all seeing where I'm going?
I see
This
you.
is I'm just kind of stirring the pot a little bit to be
Yeah.
like, both sides got to rethink this real quick because that's what's starting to happen. And when I look at what Craig Hayes says, I feel exactly what he's saying, but I just kind of got paused and glitched on looking at. I'm concerned because people are leaving the weekly thing looking for something else.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, we're leaving employment to go find employment outside. And in most cases, secular is going to get you out, is going to have you saying, I need somebody to cover. Because I'm just going to keep it 100%. Somebody fight me on this. Maybe I'm wrong. If I call some of these musicians up and be like, yo, the Floetry concert, they need a whole new band and they paying $5,000 a head for 3 shows
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a carload going to Ohio and there's a bunch of calls. Yo, can you cover me on Sunday?
Yep.
Yep.
Right?
That's
Can you
facts.
cover me?
Facts, brother.
And
That's
then if
facts.
they say this show was so good, Floetry going back on reunion tour, we want this same band. Hey, Pastor, I ain't gonna be here for the next 6 months. Cause the managers told you got a $30,000 bag if you ride out with this for a couple of months.
Yeah.
On and off per diem, flights all, I'm touring over to London, everything.
Yep.
Yo, you got money, you rolling out. Cause technically you wasn't a part of that ministry. So you don't feel some kind of way. Me being a pastor's kid, and that's my church, every time I went in the studio LA, I was asking them, I would write in my thing, fly me back to Philly so I can be there because I'm obligated. Because that's my church, my ministry, and if I'm not there, I'm failing them. So what Craig Hayes is mentioning, if it's that easy, you ain't part of the ministry. You're doing a job.
I get it.
And what starts to happen is if churches start to present it a little differently,
Mm-hmm.
then we won't have that in and out, I don't think.
We gonna go there tonight?
No, we ain't got time.
Okay.
So, but we picking up from that next week.
All right.
We picking up from that because we haven't even hit that half of it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you gave that precursor, Pels.
I like it though. I mean, I understand it, but that's the point where somebody was saying, again, I didn't listen to the whole context of some of the off. Y'all know what John Gray was saying.
Yeah.
I don't understand the whole context of it, but just the piece of what he was saying, it was a video I saw him in the car and I had to listen to him closely and some people were just firing off on him. I'm like, I don't think he's like making a bad point, but the point he's making is distinguish between a concert and a worship experience.
Yeah.
Every Sunday should be a worship experience.
Facts.
A concert, call it a concert, and I'm not offended when you're charging that much for tickets and stuff. It's a concert.
Yeah. There you go.
So Kurt is twerking. That's what you get when you pay for the concert.
Yep.
But if it's a worship experience, you're wrong. Twerking and now dworking is just even worse.
Yeah.
I just figured it out.
Bruh.
We shout out some watchers.
Mhm.
Shout out some watchers. Rob Elliott Jr. First Corinthian Nicole.
First.
Grandma B, Mrs. Brister.
Grandma B.
Cheryl Sprinter Vaughn. Thank you all for tuning in. Let me go this way. because again, we're kind of finishing up on the second half of this comment. Next week, we're going to dive into the first half that Pelzer already kind of gave us a good appetizer to. But the termination of the older seasoned music ministry leaders after years of dedicated service. Let me go this way, Jay. It was 2006 where I was hired. First time I was hired as a minister of music. It was 2006.
Come on, Reverend.
Now, started playing mid-90s. Started being hired because back in the mid-90s, early 2000s, a lot of Baptist churches, particularly in the city of Philadelphia, a lot of the churches, they didn't really have a minister of music. A lot of them, what they had was they had several different musicians each Sunday because the choir hired their musician.
Right.
And of course, they had to get it approved through
Senior choir, youth choir.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I first came up in the Baptist circuit, you didn't. Again, the majority of Baptist churches, at least in the Philadelphia area, didn't have ministers of music because they had 4 or 5 different choirs, and each choir hired their own musician.
Right.
Right.
So that was the
right.
that was the time that I came up in terms of. So the first time I got hired by a church choir for either a Sunday or a set of Sundays was 1998.
Wow.
All right. First time I got hired as a minister of music, 2006. And since 2006, I've pretty much held a parallel position for a ministry.
Yeah.
Even up to now, my title is director of music.
Yeah.
All right. So 2006 to now is 19 years. Guess who ain't doing that for 40 years?
Come on, Doc. That, yo, your wife.
Matter of fact,
she said Jurassic. Pals, you see this?
Huh?
Grandma B.
Yeah, Jurassic.
Guess who ain't doing that for another 10 years?
Come on. That part.
And that ain't because I don't love what I do. That's just I'm considering the end and the transition.
Yeah. It has to be one.
And I also think that for me, it's a byproduct of something you guys have heard me say in terms of my own conviction. I have a personal conviction for the next generation of musicians. So I take as many opportunities as I can to pour.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Even when sometimes it seems like they're not listening. Yeah. Even when it seems like they're not listening. Because I remember not listening to someone. But then it dawned on me years down. Then it hit.
Yeah.
It hit years later.
Yeah.
But when they first said it, I wasn't listening.
Right.
I didn't think they knew.
Yeah.
I thought they were, obsolete.
Right. Times change.
and antiquated.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I thought when they first said it to me. And then years later.
Yeah, what they said.
So I keep knocking at this door of the end in mind and the transition in mind. Because again, I believe that when that is really done on both sides of the coin and both sides of the table, then we'll have a lot less people mishandled in this way.
Yeah.
A lot less people mishandled this way. We'll have a lot more situations that you and Pels brought up where now, okay, maybe you're in your twilight, but your wisdom is still keen.
Yeah.
And that's something that can be an asset even in the same area. So maybe now you put your wisdom at the forefront versus your fingers, versus your voice.
Yeah.
You do a little more teaching and instructing versus executing.
Yeah.
Maybe you do that, but this comes out of, again, giving it the proper consideration early, not waiting till, man, it's been 42 years. Then we want to think about it. And again, I say it on both sides.
Yeah.
I say that on the musical side, the creative side. Maybe this even spills over to the pulpit.
Yeah.
That's not my area, so I don't speak on that area very much. Also, on the church side, when you have, gifted key people in leadership positions, and you have an understanding that there's a demand that comes with that.
Yeah.
There's a demand that comes with a minister of music. There's a demand that comes with that. That as church leaders, you have expectations on the quality that is presented on Sunday, and that just don't happen just at a wave of the wand.
Yep.
It's not how that happens. So when you have those key persons that are in areas vital to the effectiveness of ministry, you got to start considering the end and the transition.
Yeah.
Not the end of the ministry, but the end of a tenure.
Yeah, because there will be somebody after you. Now, whether you put them there or train them, that's
Yes, sir.
But there will be somebody after you. There was somebody there before.
Right.
Right. And whether you leave or die off, there will be somebody thereafter. And you're absolutely right, man. Like, and it's even, I might get in trouble for saying this. It hits you even more when you are doing all that and trying to travel with the choir, and doing gigs, and sessions, all having to get back to your church for rehearsals.
Yep.
Going somewhere Saturday to try to fly back Saturday night, to try to get there at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
To prepare and learn music, to try to go over something with the band real quick.
Getting off red eyes at 7 in the morning.
Man, look, you're trying to get a breakfast sandwich to try to get something going because you're so tired. You got 2 hours on the plane. And that just wears you down, man.
Oh, yeah.
And then Monday, you're back at it trying to do this and that, throughout the week. That wears you down, man.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
But I understand where he was coming from with that. But as he said, years. I don't think he was talking about 5 to 10.
Yeah.
I think he was talking more like 15, 20.
Absolutely.
Years of dedicated service.
Absolutely.
Man. And when these men and women that have put that time in, they deserve something other than a watch.
Yeah.
Other than a card.
Yeah.
I remember, I can speak on this personally. I retired from a ministry that I played for 20 years. They gave me a watch. That was it. And I still got my paycheck that day.
20 years.
Whew. That taught me something. That taught me that there is now and will be somebody after me. There is now. Yeah, there's somebody there now that they hired right off the bat.
Yeah.
Without a thought. There was no, Jay, how do you feel about staying a little longer? It wasn't that.
Yeah.
Okay. Next person, you're hired in the seat. And here we are back again. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
It's like repetitious.
And in addition to that, I hear someone kind of responding to, I guess, my position with this part of the conversation by saying, well, Who wants to train their replacement? Now, that statement may ring a little more weightier in secular, in corporate America. That may weigh there, but I think where it kind of disconnects for me is, again, when you look at secular. The secular they're not, or more so corporate.
Yeah,
they're not waiting nowhere near close to when you can't do it.
Exactly.
Let me repeat that. They're not waiting nowhere near close to the age that you're unable.
Yep.
That's not. They're not waiting nowhere
you
near
have
that
to
long.
retire at a certain age. They gonna kick you out. No, I know this for a fact. As a state trooper in the state that I live in, you have till 55. After that, they're gonna kick you out. And it's not a bad. They're just gonna let you know you're too old to be a good fit. For this position.
Absolutely.
Your retirement, your pension, all that other stuff.
Absolute facts.
But you will not be on this job.
And then the last thing I want to say in terms of the difference of, the whole who wants to train their replacement. Well, again, I would point back to my comment about legacy. I would point back to that, where we're not looking at legacy as staying in as long as we can or until we can't.
Right.
But we look at legacy as who we've poured into. That's all I got for tonight. You got anything else, Jay?
Nah, man. Like, it. I guess it really hits home, man, because I've seen so many musicians that led out to the pasture.
Yeah. And we have to. We can't leave this without talking about that as well.
Yeah.
So that's something we got to talk about next week.
And the crazy part is, if you stay with a ministry 15, 20 years, you're no longer there for the pay.
No.
They have now become family.
Absolutely.
And so I think that it would hurt even more to be put out to the pasture by people you've called family for the last 25, 30 years. And money don't even matter anymore. I would rather you train somebody up.
Yeah.
And sit to the side as a consultant.
Yeah.
I believe one of the greatest examples of this, wasn't it Stephen Ford?
Yeah.
Who sat to the side, now let Antoine and them do their thing, and when Steve need to get on, he get on and play a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow everybody and then get off.
Yeah.
He don't have nothing to prove no more. He's teaching now.
Yeah.
Professionally.
Yeah.
He doesn't depend on the church. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to be in that position. And I'm like, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
He has a legacy that he left. A lot of musicians can say, "Oh, Uncle Steve, yeah, I learned from him too.
Yeah.
I learned this from him. I learned wisdom from him." And that's the type of legacy.
Yeah, he's got so many mentees. It's crazy. I could name like 8 guys off the top of my head. Before we get out of here, Pelzer, I want to take one of the questions that you normally ask and maybe amend it. A lot of times you'll ask, in regards to your serve, what to the musician, what would you be looking for in the ministry? Where, your top priority isn't the dollar amount. So I want to let's say add another like parallel question to that. And the parallel question would be, musicians, what would you look for out of a ministry? Musicians and creatives, what would you look for out of a ministry where you would be willing to invest 10 to 15 years?
That's a good one.
Because to your point, Jay, once you invest that amount of time, it ain't solely about the dollar amount. And at that point, you're not really looking for, greener pastures.
Yeah, right.
You've already kind of
Invested,
yeah. And you've settled that this is your green pasture.
Yep.
And no other pasture would be greener.
Mm-hmm. For real.
So that would be an additional question: is what musicians and creatives, what would you look for in a church ministry that would entice you to invest 10 to 15 years of your time operating in your gift and in your skill set?
That's a good one.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. We getting out of here. We'll be back next week. We got to dive more into this post that has so much more information and so much more of a conversation, again, that I think we need to bring to the forefront. Definitely. Thank you all for tuning in again. If you have not already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Please.
Go to YouTube and the search, put in Between Sundays -YY7NI. I'm your co-host, D. Brister.
Jay Morris.
Here we go. Peace out, everyone.